Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here I got my other co-host,
Guru Blaz.
Yeah! What's up, Guru Blaz?
Oh, not too much.
Oh, man. I haven't seen you in a good bit.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
It's been a little while.
The weather's probably adds on to that.
Having a second or third winter here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And now it's back to sunny.
Yeah, we got snow. Now it's all sunny and nice. It's like in the 40s and 50s. It's already melting away.
Although that's relative when we say nice, because 40s and 50s for a lot of people would be
that's still
extremely cold. But yeah. I don't have to wear an additional jacket with my sweatshirt in the 50-degree weather, so I consider it warm enough.
Yeah, or for me, because I'm fat, I just go ahead and be like, this is short weather now.
Yeah, there you go. You always wear shorts. I've never seen you wear pants since I've known you.
Because, man, dude...
I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying. It's just an observation.
Because shorts are, like... I love shorts because I just have the ability to have, like, room. If I'm wearing pants... I feel like a penguin. I can't, like, really, like, move as much.
I suppose I just, like, yeah, it's probably different for you because we're different sizes. But, yeah, I barely ever wear shorts.
You're wearing skinny pants, right? Skinny, they're not even jeans.
They're not skinny, but, yeah, I mean, they're slender, but that's because I'm very skinny.
Oh, like me, my legs are fat. Like, well, mind you, I'm a fat guy.
That's fair.
That's fair. I have room in shorts. I love wearing shorts. If I could wear shorts all the time, I would.
But you do wear them all the time.
No, if I could wear them outside too.
Every time I've seen you though, I don't understand.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But that's because
when it was winter, you were outside in shorts and like a t-shirt.
But if I had to walk everywhere, like I would have to wear pants because then my legs would freeze up.
All right.
Because I have to walk from my house to my car, and I can warm up my car.
Oh, all 5 feet.
All 5 feet. Yep, that's right.
Fair enough.
So I would only have to walk through that and be like, oh, okay, it's cold. Oh, I'm so good now. All right, let's turn on the heat and let's go.
Fair enough.
So but if I had to walk everywhere, if I lived in New York, during the winter, I would have to wear pants all the time.
I wish I could afford to live in New York.
I mean, I did for a time.
Well, there you go.
So I mean, I remember we had a snowstorm back in 2010 where it was up to my knees, almost my knees.
That's cute.
I know. Well, you're this is Wisconsin.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
That's every winter.
That's normal time.
That's every winter.
But yeah, no, I remember
once you get waist high, you talk to me.
It was so bad that all the streets were closed. It was that bad.
Makes sense.
But it was nuts. But yeah. So what's been going on? What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of Sekiro, still finishing off DMC. I've been playing a lot of The Surge. I played some Conan Exiles.
You must be really liking The Surge.
I really do, actually.
Because that was the free game on Plus for the month of
and as is Conan Exiles, which I've also played a little bit of. But yeah, no, I really like The Surge. I
have to spin up Conan. I have to spin that game
It's basically in one sentence, it's high-tech Dark Souls, essentially. So it functions very, combat-wise and gameplay-wise as, to how things are kind of constructed and how exploration works.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to a Soulsborne game.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some differences, but everything is, the story is obviously different, and you get these exosuits. Everything is based off of upgrading and mechanical and electrical. So that's the main difference.
Mm-hmm.
As well as in the combat, there's finishing moves which play into if you're able to pull one. So the way that it works is if you're fighting someone, you have them targeted.
Okay.
You can switch what part of their body you're specifically targeting.
Ooh!
So the main thing is there's armored and unarmored, and it depends on what type of enemy you're facing. But any humanoid enemy, at least at this point, you can there's so basically all there's body, right and left leg, head, and right and left arm.
Okay.
And those are your points that you can go to.
Okay.
So you could attack them without doing that, but once you're target, you can move and it'll basically have it. So if you attack an unarmored part, And mind you, there's like a combo-based system, very similar to like Bloodborne, and you can dodge and that kind of thing. Different weapon types. I've discovered a few so far. I'm really liking the staff, which I found recently. Anyway, so you can attack an unarmored part, which does heavier damage.
Yeah.
But if you attack an armored part, you get the chance to perform an execution move, and they're different with each weapon as well as with what part you're trying to basically cut off.
Yeah.
So, and if you're able to damage it enough before you actually kill them, it's not a guarantee though. Sometimes you just do an execution move that just kills them, and you get tech scrap, which is essentially like the universal currency, like souls or blood echoes.
Okay.
But if you perform one correctly, you'll sever the armored part and gain a part, which you use to either craft upgrades for your existing armor or craft new armor or new weapons or, that kind of thing.
That sounds cool.
And so that's really nice. I like that aspect of it. You can also switch mid-combat. So like
cool.
You can, if it depending on the enemy, you want to get high damage, you go for an unarmored part, then you switch and try to damage the part you want specifically and hope that and you build there's basically health, and then there's a stamina gauge, then there's an energy gauge, and you build up energy as you attack an enemy. And once you reach a certain amount of it, you can perform an execution. I recently got a drone companion, so you can use that with your energy to do a move with them. So yeah, and then there's different enemies, and then every time you encounter a new enemy, if you can get a new weapon off of them if you sever their arms. So I have several. I defeated one bigger boss so far, the first one in the game to my knowledge, which was basically this giant RoboCop mech, And so I had to fight him a few times, but after defeating him, I got it's called single rig. There's one-handed, which is the first weapon in the game you get is this piston. And the next one that I had was a vibro cutter, so it's a one-handed quick, And then there's single rigged, which is basically one big, in the case of the weapon I got off the boss, this giant chunk of metal essentially. Yeah. And it's just a big swipe and clock,
Wow.
And then there's double rigged, which I have one of, which are they're called the Yosuke butterflies, and it's these essentially attached daggers. And it's less damage, but you're very fast and agile.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I use the vibro cutter, because it kind of has more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then and that's a single rigged, and then
them
there's heavy weapons, which I've gotten one or two of. One I got was this big hammer. Basically, it's a two-handed, and it's very slow but high damage.
Yeah.
And then the staff, which is a reinforced pipe, which I'm trying to upgrade because it works like a bow staff, which I really like. So it's you just get you get good reach, you get lots of quick movements. It doesn't do as high damage, but that's why I'm trying to upgrade it. And then your tech scrap, it's really cool how they implement it, because essentially, like I said, you use it for everything, upgrading. You need parts as well as tech scrap to upgrade stuff. But you can also upgrade your core. Now, basically because you get implants that give you different bonuses. Yeah. And as you upgrade your overall core, which is just the numeric value, which you can use your tech scrap to do, and it goes up in price as you upgrade.
Yeah.
You either unlock new implant slots, and the implants are they're what give you health injections.
Yeah.
And healing abilities or energy abilities or the ability to see an opponent's health meter. So basically, and you swap them out, but as you upgrade your core, you gain more of those slots, so you can have more at one time. So as an example, when you first start, you get I have this vital injection. It gives you 3 instant health recovery items.
Yeah.
But if you equip 2 of them, you have 6.
Oh, okay.
And another one would be there's this other one called this a plasmaic and whatever thing. And it's another healing item, but what it does is when you inject it, it heals you slowly over 30 seconds. But you can have both of them equipped, and you can switch between them and have use of all of them in their entirety. If you have enough implant slots to do it.
Yeah.
In addition to ones that get you to be able to see stuff, will reduce the amount at which your energy dissipates, because if you're not attacking, your energy will slowly decline and decay, which you use to activate certain combat things.
Yep.
And so the number you have also certain pieces of equipment have a certain amount of core power that they need. So if you're at like 31 out of a total 32, and what you want to equip is 2, you won't be able to equip it till you increase your core.
Okay.
But I also think in addition to all that, and the crafting is cool. You make different weapons, upgrade existing ones. If you get schematics based off the enemies that you fight, it's also like trying to find shortcuts between levels because there's not really any map to speak of. And so it's very, very similar to how the Souls games are set up.
Okay.
Trying to figure out the narrative of the world by talking to people that you meet or finding audio logs.
Yeah.
But I think that a cool part is... And again, if you visit the med bay, which is essentially your bonfire, everything resets other than bigger enemies. But what you can do is you can bank your tech scrap. Because if you die, you will lose your tech scrap and you have to go retrieve it within 2.5 minutes or something.
Oh, jeez.
And then you get it back, or you lose it. If you die, it gets a good chunk taken off of it, and then you can go and get what was left. But if you want to make the decision, let's say you have a decent chunk of tech scrap on you, and you don't want to lose it, and you have a clear path back because you've just been murdering your way through everything and they haven't respawned, you can go back to the med bay, and at the price of resetting all of that, you can bank your tech scrap.
Ooh.
And so it'll reduce you to 0 and basically just save it at your medbay station.
Okay.
And you have to fight through everything again, but if you die, you don't lose any of that. It stays there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the concepts that's vastly different, because there's no really way to do that outside of in the other games that are similar in gameplay style.
Yeah.
But I've been really digging it.
That's rad. Yeah. That's definitely rad. For me, I went ahead and I've just finished Walking Dead New Frontier, which was great. And now I'm playing through Walking Dead.
Oh, I've also been playing Need for Speed Payback. I picked up.
Oh, funsies.
Just because I didn't have any racing games on my modern console, so I figured I might as well have one.
Okay. Yeah. No. So for me, I've been playing through New Frontier. Finished that game. A really good story, and now I'm playing through Walking Dead Final Season. I've also been playing gone back into Far Cry New Dawn, because that was when a bunch of games were coming out at the same time, so I had to juggle a few of them. So I went back into that, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing with that. Just been very, very hectic. Some family personal things have happened, so that has kind of taken me away from gaming and some other things. So I've been dealing with that, and yeah, just been kind of taking care of a lot of things, doing some if you haven't noticed, we now have a new wrestling show called Weighing In. So if you are into wrestling, go ahead and watch some of that. We have our predictions of WrestleMania and WrestleMania 35 and TakeOver New York, and our recap on that is also there too. And every week we'll also be doing a Raw versus SmackDown debate between me and our new member Derek, who will be debating about which episode, whether Raw or SmackDown, won the week, and we'll also be doing a punishment video from our predictions over TakeOver and WrestleMania 35, which I won that just by 1 point, only by 1. So, which pretty much what Derek will have to do is that because I won, I get to create a drink that he will have to drink. Mind you, it's everything in the drink will be edible, is able to be consumed.
Though technically there are things that technically are still able to be consumed.
Well, it's nothing no poison, no bodily, none of that. It's nothing too crazy. But
no poison, just kill them.
I'm not trying to lose people. I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, if you are a wrestling fan or are interested in anything like that, or just want to watch me talk some more with our new guy Derek, go ahead and watch that on the channel. So that's kind of what it's been. I've been up to also. So yeah, because I know you don't really watch a lot of wrestling. So
not really. I don't really watch a lot of TV, honestly.
Actually, I've just finished Steven Universe. I'm all caught up on that. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of it.
Absolutely fantastic. It took me a little bit to catch because it's a slow burn, but when the show activates, ooh, does it activate really hard. It's really good. So yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and begin with our first segment, which is News of the Nation! Scene. Yeah.
Proud.
Cinematic thing. Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, no, I'm here for joking. Alright, so let's begin. We've talked about this multiple times on Dualshock'd, along with Spectre has been a very big proponent of this. But Sony has finally announced the ability to change your PSN name. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I got something in my throat. Sorry. Yeah. Sony has announced that users will now be able to change their PlayStation Network Online ID. The Online ID change feature for PSN has been announced on the PlayStation blog, which will be accessible from a web browser or from your own system, and free to use for your very first change. Any further changes will cost $9.99 or $4.99 for PlayStation Plus subscribers. Sony has put together a list of tested games that are sorted by games with no issues, those with issues, and those with critical issues. And I'm actually going to pull up the blog right now. Excuse me, my throat is dry.
How dare you?
There we go. Okay. So on the PlayStation blog, it says that they have now finally been able to do that. As we have known about almost like late last year, early this year, there was a beta test for people who wanted to try this out. But there were announcements that, like, if you during this beta, people were not able to access their trophies, game saves were lost, stuff like that. So on here, they kind of have a Q&A. So they have like how can you change your online ID? You can either use it from the PS4 or the web browser. But whatever your PSN ID is on your PS3 and your Vita, that cannot change. So whatever if you choose to change it, your old PSN ID will still be connected to the past ones. And what happens is that there is no restriction to how many times you can change it. You can do it as many times as you want. All you have to do is pay the $10 or $5 for it. If you want to revert back to an old ID, you can go back to an old ID as long as it doesn't violate the terms of service. You can revert to any of the previous IDs that you've had by contacting the PlayStation support, so contacting customer service. If you choose to revert, it is free, so you can go back and do that. That is completely free. If you change your online ID multiple times, can you revert back to any of your past IDs? Yes, you can. Again, as long as it doesn't mess with the terms of service. Let's see. Not all games are supported by this. So as we said before, pretty much what they have stated is that pretty much games after April 1st of 2018 are completely supported. No problems, no trophy issues, no save issues, anything like that. But games, let's see. Yeah, because like the list of tested games that they have is right here, and I'm just gonna pull this up right here. So they have games with critical issues, and if you want to, you can go on to the PlayStation blog. So just a few games to list off: games with some issues, games like Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Bloodborne, Call of Duty Ghosts, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sins, Dark Souls 3, FIFA 17. Grand Theft Auto 5, Killzone Shadowfall, Rock Band, Titanfall 2, Uncharted 4, Thief's End, and these are just to name a few. The full list is up on the PlayStation blog if you want to go ahead and read that. And it says that it's minor issues, so it's like a lot of it is online. So if you change your PSN ID, like that's what it will mess with. Is that your name?
Well, good thing I don't plan on changing it.
But in the games with critical issues, this is the one where you lose in-game currency, whether paid or earned, loss of game progress, loss of UGC or parts of the game might not function properly. It's small.
Dude, barely any of those games are even relevant.
The only game that it's only Little Big Planet 3, and the reason that is because Little Big Planet 3, you can take all the stuff from all the Little Big Planets, Little Big Planet 1 and 2, import it to the PS4. And because of that, that's why if you change your PSN name, as they said, you can revert it back. So if you want to play Little Big Planet 3, you can revert back and you haven't lost everything.
But these aren't any high-profile games, really.
No, like the MLB,
at least for the critical
it's like MLB 14, like really old ones that were like connected to the PS3, which it seems like. So it's just pretty much games with issues identified. It's just your past online ID may be visible. User accounts for the PlayStation may be unlinked from game accounts. Certain games may be initialized into their default state. So if you had any settings that you changed, they're just going to go back to default. Those are the ones with some issues. Not all, not critical issues. Yeah, so what do you think about this, Blaze? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's cool. It doesn't really affect me because I made sure to pick a name I wanted to start with. But I think that, it's definitely something that needed to occur, and it's about time. It's like been Xbox had that on the 360. Like when I changed my name on there, and it was, you just had to pay a little bit or whatever, and you could change it. I think it's like something that could have easily been done sooner, that they just finally got around to doing, and better late than never. There's plenty of people that probably want to change their account names, and giving the first one for free, that's cool, and then paying for additional ones is understandable. I mean, I don't really have too much to say on it, again, just because it's a simple change. Yeah. But it's definitely a necessary.
But it's definitely needed. Like, I'm very, very happy about this. For me personally, I've been kind of on the fence to change my own PSN ID.
Sure.
Only because I've kind of grown attached to my own name.
Yeah.
But I know that some people, like when they, I've had my PS3 since I was like in high school, like sophomore year.
Sure.
Like freshman, sophomore year. I've had it for a very long time. I've had my PSN name since then.
Yeah.
But I know that some people, bought it around the same time, but they chose because they were funny. We'll go ahead and they want to choose something that was like, kiddish or like,
instant hell murder.
Yeah, or like,
or like what was available that was close enough to what you actually wanted.
Yep. Yeah. That's why, for me, I had to put in multiple numbers in mine.
Yeah.
So
or the underscore X's.
Yeah.
Was the thing for a while, at least on Xbox.
Yep. But I'm very happy this has finally happened, and the issues look like they're all online based.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it affects your trophy progress.
Sure.
As much.
And I guess for me, trophies aren't really.
Well, trophies are important for me, and I know.
Oh yeah, and I understand to a lot of people they are. I mean, it's not like I'd want to lose them if I were to change it, but if I did, I mean, game progress would be the thing that I'd be concerned about. I could give a shit about trophies. I want to make sure that my progress in the game itself is not altered in any way.
Yeah. But the games that are listed that have problems are Uncharted 4. All these games are related to online play. It doesn't mess with your single player or anything like that, which is really nice. So yeah, I mean, I think this is great. I'm very, very happy about this. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to change mine. I don't know.
I don't have any plans to change mine, but I think it's cool that I have the option to now.
Yeah. But please let us know if you guys are going to go ahead and change your name, or what do you guys think about this? Because I think this is I think there's a lot of people's opinions, or I think more often than not, people are happy to have this change.
Well, just to have the option, basically, is what I think is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree. But yeah, let's move on. Next, about this week, around this time, is the 1-year anniversary of God of War on the PS4. Wearing the shirt, got my glass, been drinking my water out of it,
Congratulations.
Very happy. But, it's been pretty much 1 year since God of War has come out, and what an amazing game. We've talked about this game so many times on
I don't even want to dwell on it because we talked about it to death, but essentially, it is a phenomenal game. And if you haven't played it, you should. That's
Yeah.
basically my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, just from the PlayStation blog, since they are so happy about it, they are putting up a 1 year anniversary theme, PS4 dynamic theme, which you can download now. I actually have it up on my system right now, and I love it. And then this coming Wednesday, which would be I believe 17th, April 17th. Yes, they're going to be putting up a free avatar set, so you can change your avatar in your PSN related to God of War, and that is also going to be free. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and go take a trip down memory lane a little bit.
Oh, sure.
And just what a fantastic game. I've been so excited for that game when it first came out. Me and Spectre have talked about it a lot, and when we brought you on, like we've talked about it so many times. That game came out, we reviewed it, we gave it a perfect 5 out of 5. It's what an amazing game. What a fantastic story. At the core, it's about, between a father and son. And, like, if you've played all the God of War games like I have, you kind of see it from Kratos' point of view, where, like, where Kratos has been and how his relationship with his son, it's kind of very strange and very hard, and throughout the journey that you play throughout the game, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love his son at all. He loves his son, but it's because of who Kratos is. It's very hard for him, and kind of to.
And he was a father before too,
and he lost his daughter because of his own actions.
Yeah.
So. No, I absolutely love the game, the combat in it. I'm so glad they put a new game plus, last summer with like new armor sets and runes and enemies and stuff like that. Like I love that game. I honestly need to go and play new game plus on that game.
I still got to defeat all the Valkyries. I haven't got. That's pretty much what I had left to do.
Yeah, which PlayStation has put up a video about all their developers. Like fans have made. One fan made pretty much a Lego like construction of them in Alfheim. Of like when you're on the road and you see like the trees and like pink and stuff. There's fan art that has been put in, videos, tons of stuff that fans have sent to Santa Monica and that they could not be more happy about. Or one tweet, one of the developers who worked on the Valkyries, she was so happy to hear about how people are saying on Twitter about how hard the Valkyries are, and she's like, I'm very happy that that's the case because I wanted them.
Yeah,
to
the
be
Valkyries
difficult.
are more difficult than any of the bosses.
Oh, I agree. If you play, and if you play the hardest mode, I want God of War. It's ridiculous.
I have no doubt.
But it's such a great game. I'm like, again, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Thank you so much, Sony Santa Monica and PlayStation, Cory Barlog, everyone on the team, everyone who has poured their heart and their soul into that game. It deserves all the awards that it has received, and I could not be more thankful to be playing a game like that.
Absolutely.
I've never played a game like that before that has been more gratifying and has made me emotional. I think the last game that really kind of got at me was Last of Us when it first came out on the PS3.
Yeah.
So what a fantastic game! What an amazing game! Yeah, I just wanted to go take a trip down memory lane. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Blaze?
You pretty much covered it.
All right, I just wanted to take a little trip down memory lane for that because 1 year anniversary, it's all good. But this is what I want to spend a little bit more time on. Next topic. Jedi Fallen Order has now been announced, and we have a lot of information coming out of Star Wars Celebration, which happened this past week in Chicago, from April, I believe, if I can do math or calendar stuff. It would be from the weekend of the April 11th and 12th to the 14th, 15th, so pretty much right now. So pretty much I have pulled up from IGN and tons of other gaming outlets have pulled out this details. Pretty much at Star Wars Celebration, they had a panel. So they announced it on Saturday, and then on Sunday they had just a whole panel where you had pretty much Corey Monahan, who was in Gotham, and he plays the main character. So let me go ahead and kind of pull this up. So at Star Wars Celebration Chicago, we kind of have a better look at what this game is. Players will take on the role of a lone Jedi named Cal Kestis, who has survived the Order 18. Who has survived Order 66. And according to EA and Respawn, quote, players must pick up the pieces of Cal's shattered past to complete his training and master the art of iconic lightsaber, all while staying one step ahead of the Empire and its deadly Inquisitors. So there are multiple characters in it. The title's villain says that it's the second sister, which I personally don't really know much on the second sister.
It sounds like something they could have just made up.
It might be. And they really have not shown gameplay. They showed the trailer, which looks great. It looks great. But we have seen great trailers coming out of EA.
Trailers are always great.
Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds awesome. It looks awesome. They showed some wall running of Cal, which I'm like, this is going to be great. If I can do more wall running, like, this is going to feel like, if it's a third-person action-adventure game, that's going to be great, which that's what they have said. Respawn has said that this is an action-adventure title. Despite some stealth-like elements in its marketing, Stig Asmussen, who is the game director for this game, and from Respawn, says that there will be no stealth mechanics in favor of emphasizing lightsaber and force power combat. So yeah, there is also they EA and Respawn have been they've been repeating this over and over and over and over again, and they have said that this is Jedi Fallen Order is a single player experience with no multiplayer and no microtransactions at all. The game is set to release on November 15th of this year for PC, Xbox One, and PS4. So yeah. They kind of revealed some of the characters in it. So what we got here, we've got Cal Kestis, who is going to be the protagonist. Pretty much, he starts off with that he's been living his life on the planet Braca, which is a new planet that we haven't heard of, with his companion droid BD-1, which pretty much BD-1, he's going to be he's not just like, here's a droid. He's part of the story. He's kind of like, how like Han and Chewie, C-3PO and R2, like that kind of thing. And pretty much what we know is that he's training to master his force powers. So he's a Jedi Padawan, and because of Order 66, he's gonna have to learn his force powers through the story that we're gonna be getting. Yeah, let's see. We have Siri, who is a Jedi Knight who's been in hiding, appears after Cal. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. But pretty much she's a Jedi who has been in hiding also, and then somehow when Cal uses his force power, who's been in hiding, she senses it and finds him, and that's kind of how he gets pulled into this story. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm going through a lot of this is vague, and I think that's on purpose.
Well, yeah, it just got announced, so I mean, what do you expect?
But where is your opinion on this? What do you think?
I mean, I think that it's definitely looks like it's going in the right direction, and I'm excited to play it as it currently looks like it will be. From what I've heard and seen, I think it's going to be along the lines of like a tactical melee RPG, similar to like a Soulsborne game. I think that would probably be a good direction to go. It's a solid mechanic, and I think that with the addition of like force powers and lightsaber combat and traversal, that it would be kind of like almost like play like what Sekiro did for that franchise, like the franchise of From Software games, where it has the same core concepts of what make it that type of hardcore RPG game, but it has a lot of the grappling hook and a lot of other mechanics with its movement and things of that nature that make it a different experience while retaining the core of what makes it fun. And I think that's where I foresee Fallen Order going, is in that direction of, having that kind of like, visceral tactical combat where it's real time dodging, striking, combos, with the addition of being able to gain new force powers and lightsaber combat, and there'll probably be, systems to upgrade those things or construct new lightsabers, or, you probably have like I don't know if they're gonna, because it says that I don't know if it's because since it will be a narrative driven campaign, I don't know if they're gonna have a system of like choosing between the light and the dark side.
That'd be cool. I like that.
But the thing is like I feel like that would kind of go against the story. Unless they work it in like where like you could make that decision and like go.
I mean, like kind of like an infamous style kind of thing, where like
something like that. Because otherwise, I feel like you are trying to be a Jedi, so I don't know if they're going to give you the option to like be a part of the dark side. Only because I feel like that would kind of
undermines the story.
Yeah, like what's the point then?
Yeah,
of, like everything. But I'm not saying they couldn't do it and have it be done right. I'm just like they would have to be very particular about how they did it.
I think it's going to be more like Force Unleashed. You know how Force Unleashed is like it's like you are given these powers. These are the powers that you get to use.
Right,
so,
but you can choose to use
how you want to use them though. So like you can force choke and then use lightning on them while you're choking them, or you can go ahead and like force pull them, and then while you force pull them, you can throw your lightsaber at them, or vice versa. Like there's a bunch of different ways that you can use your combat in that. But again, I'm sorry, I meant to say it's Cameron Monaghan. Cameron Monaghan, not Corey. Cameron Monaghan is playing Cal, which is absolutely great. Again, I love Gotham. He's such a fantastic actor. He's also, I believe he's also been in. He's also known for his roles in Shameless, I believe. He's fantastic. Have you seen Gotham at all?
I've seen like the first season of Gotham.
He's great. He's very, very good at what he does. Yeah, he's been very well known for being in Gotham and in Shameless. But he's going to be playing Cal in this. And hearing about the gameplay, like everything like that, like I really do think that it's going to have that stamina based combat that we're kind of now accustomed to.
That basically it started with like the Dark Souls and Demon Souls game, and it's like I've seen it too. It's like become like one of the favored, like it's basically like, oh, we found what's like fun and challenging, and that's why you see so many games like even God of War.
Yeah,
like even in God of War 3, but it's like increasing the difficulty, making the combat more what's the word I'm looking for, like you have to be more adept at the actual combat.
You have to be more.
It's a lot more of a precise combat system than, let's say, God of War 3, where like there's still aspects of, but it's like much
It's all
easier.
combo based.
And even though there might be combos because there are combos technically in games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, but it's like again, you're based off a stamina meter. In addition to any other implements that they might have on there, you might have a meter that allows you to only use a certain amount of force, since that's not really stamina.
Yeah.
Or they might combine it into one.
Like you could have like your force bar and a stamina bar.
Or you could have one bar that it takes from everything, or it depends on how they want to do it.
The way that I would want to see two separate bars.
Well, I would too. I'm just saying, like,
but they
could.
Yeah.
And then your lightsaber would be like your physical stamina, that kind of thing.
No, yeah. I mean, hearing about this, seeing the trailer, I'm looking forward to this game, and I like. Here's the weird thing: is that they keep repeating, single player, narrative driven, no multiplayer, no microtransactions. These are all using the Unreal Engine. They're not forced. Like EA is not forcing them to use the Frostbite engine. This is not developed on Frostbite at all.
Well, because they probably finally decided to say if we don't do something, then people are just gonna forget about us entirely.
I know.
They're just gonna be bold because no one's gonna. They're not doing anything. So it's like, what's the point in even paying attention to you?
Well, EA higher ups,
oh sure,
the higher ups at EA forced BioWare to use the Frostbite engine for Anthem. Right. That's not a decision that BioWare got to decide on.
Right.
You know,
It still looks good.
it looks amazing, but like in gameplay wise, like that's the biggest problem with the Frostbite only works in shooters, straight up and down shooters, like from DICE. That's the problem with it. Now I'm very, very happy that like it's being made in the Unreal Engine. This is everything that we are hearing from this game is everything that we have been asking for since we've heard that EA got the license. We've been wanting a single player narrative-driven game. Not saying that Battlefront doesn't deserve a multiplayer Star Wars game doesn't deserve it, but the problem is that EA made Battlefront 1 and it was a shell of a game because they wanted to make sure it launches with the movie. And then Battlefront 2, they turn it into a microtransaction like hellhole. Like, you know, like the reason why that game didn't succeed is the game is good. The gameplay itself is fun, but because of the leveling system in the game, it just isn't fun. It's not worthwhile.
Right.
Even when they got rid of it, it took too long because that's the whole basis of the game. And now we're hearing everything, and I'm excited, but
I feel like this is as much a PR move as it is to like make a good game.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're basically trying to like in one fell swoop, you know, get rid of the stigma that they've created for themselves, which is why they're so focused on, you know, repeating the fact that it's a single player narrative driven, no microtransactions, no multiplayer.
The other reason why I actually can be like, you know what, I have faith, I actually can have some faith in this game,
right,
is because the game director for this is Stig Asmussen, who was the game director for God of War 3, and what a fantastic game that was.
Sure.
So, like, and he's heading this game. So I actually do have faith in his ability to make call shots, and
sure,
and make the
probably
game.
One of the reasons why the game is the type that it is, also, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, you know, I mean, I'm just, you know, conjecture, but it's just like, basically, it's like, if you don't do these things, people will, and it comes out and it's bad, that'll be it.
It just seems like Respawn has gone to EA and like we're like in standing their ground going, we're doing this, like hence with Apex Legends.
Right.
They went to EA you need this game. You need Apex Legends. When EA themselves went, this game, no, we like, what do you mean a free to play game? No, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Because they've been so used to the FIFA model,
right?
And they go ahead and make the game. They go, fine, whatever, who cares? Go ahead and make Apex Legends. We don't care. They go ahead and make Apex Legends. It's combating. I don't know why I said it like that, but they're combating Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like it's it's Fortnite and Apex always at the top when you're looking at like what's on
right.
Twitch streams, and I don't think EA was prepared for that. Now, you know, you have a lot of things that, like, you know, I think EA is now kind of
realize that they don't know everything.
Oh, but also you're starting to see like the battle pass that Apex Legends has is kind of just a bunch of nothing. So now I see that's a thing that EA was like, oh well, Fortnite's doing that. You need a battle pass, and like I think that's why there's a bunch of nothing in it, because that's not what Respawn wanted. But Respawn, I feel that they're like, they have the gall and they have the balls to go ahead and go up to EA and go like, we're doing this thing. And I think EA is going like, fine, go ahead, make it single player. Not only because of PR, but also because they can go, yeah, we are making us enough money from Apex, so go ahead, fine,
right.
whatever.
Like you were right. Like maybe we should listen to someone other than just each other.
Yeah.
About what's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee, and this goes for almost all bigger publishers, that barely any of them probably play games at all. They're just in it for business. They probably don't even play games.
Sure, yeah, and that's one.
They can say that they're into it, but it's only so much as they're making a crap ton of money as if with the business of games, but they're not gamers themselves, which means that there's a huge disconnect between what they think is what gamers want and what gamers actually want. And I think it took, in addition to what you were saying, it's been a long enough time of like the people who actually like support their paychecks, which are the gamers that buy their games, saying, do this or we're not going to buy your games.
Yeah.
Because you're not, first of all, you're barely putting out anything as is in general. The things you are putting out are subpar and keep doing what we don't like, even though we've just explicitly told you for years now. And it's just like, this is basically, I think, their attempt to like make good, because if Fallen Order comes out and is terrible, I doubt it, but if it is, people are just going to be like, you're completely inept, and nothing you come out with after this, no one's going to trust it. No one's going to pay money.
No, and this is on, like, that's why I'm like I don't trust EA, because we've done our review on Anthem. We've talked about it enough. Pisses me off. I'm mad at Battlefront 1 because it's a shell of a game. I'm mad at Battlefront 2 because of how hard do you want to, no, I don't want to pay money. I just want to play this game.
I don't want my credit card to determine whether I'm going to, proceed in this game. And
exactly.
do well.
And then, and even the campaign, and it is only 4 hours.
Yeah, and
it's just a meaty, and they threw it in there just to shut us up, it felt like.
Yeah.
Just
to say that, we do have one.
Exactly.
But what's the point if it sucks?
And
might as well not have
the premise of the whole story in Battlefront 2 was good. You play as a member of the Empire, the Fire Squadron, after the events of Episode 6. Awesome. That sounds like a great premise. After the first mission or second mission, you then join the good guys. You then become a rebel.
Right.
Because
reasons. As opposed to a game like Force Unleashed, where you're a bad guy and there's a lot of stuff that you go through before you're, basically love changes you over to the good side.
Yep, and then they had the whole LucasArts had to be like, well, do you want to choose light side or dark side? And there are reasons to both.
Right.
So that's kind of my whole point on that. And I look forward to this game, but again, the only reason that I am actually having some faith, a little hint of hope, a new hope on this, is because Stig Asmussen is heading this project.
Well, and just the way that the trailer looks good, what they've talked about, like they've heavily they've been adamant about saying that there's no multiplayer, no it's single player.
It's great, but that could be all like corporate speak. That could all be
right. They're just saying the buzzwords that we want to hear.
And then a few months later, they'll just go, oh yeah, well here microtransactions.
All I'm going to say is if they go back on their word, then they're screwed.
Oh yeah,
no one will ever trust them again. Mm-hmm. No one will ever. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to go out of business, but they're going to lose huge market share. Their stock will go down. I know it because no one's gonna want to buy anything.
Well, people will still buy it because of FIFA. FIFA is
sports games is different. That's just the constant. I don't even acknowledge that as part of the argument because it's the biggest sport in the world. People are going to buy the next new one just because it's going to have better. It's like basically just refining mechanics at this point. Mm-hmm. Graphics and mechanics are the only things that and roster are the only thing that change in sports games now, which is cool. That's fine. Yeah. I would still want that to happen if I were more. I mean, I don't mind sports games, but I only play them once in a great while when I'm feeling that mood.
Yeah.
And and FIFA's chill. Like, as a game, I have 14 just because it was cheap. I don't need to buy the new one because I'm not into it enough where I'm going to pay full price for it. I paid $5 for it. Just to have one, just to be able to screw it. And it's good enough, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah. But yeah, I think we've definitely gone on this for a definitely long time. I think it's more about, we'll see more when we get to E3. Mm-hmm. I think we need to see actual straight up and down gameplay, not bullcrap trailer that this is all an engine that we saw from Anthem at E3 and then found out that was a complete and utter lie. So I don't know, but I do trust Stig Asmussen, and Respawn has been on a very Titanfall 2 is a great game. Titanfall 1 was a decent game. It just kind of was a good foundation to what Titanfall 2 was. Just Titanfall 2 didn't sell well only because you put it between Call of Duty and Battlefield when it came out.
Right.
So
it didn't have a big enough name.
You booked that game and you booked that game to death. You pretty much were ready to set that game up to fail.
Right.
But you look at Apex Legends, and this is now their fourth game from Respawn. This is now their fourth game. So I do have faith in Respawn. I have faith that Stig Asmussen is going to stick to his guns and say, nope, these are the things. And honestly, but I am on my back foot on this because it is one of those things because I've been looking forward to all these EA games and I've been proved wrong almost every time. So we'll see if I'm there. Next topic is that the PlayStation Road to Greatness has begun again for the year 2019. Pretty much what this is that it's a big tour that PlayStation takes. They take a big semi and they tour to big summer, fests, stuff like that. around the U.S. So that way, like, hey, you can try out these new games that are coming out, or the games that have come out, and you can try out these VR games and stuff like that. And this is all from the PlayStation blog. They're going to places like they're going to be starting the event at Salt Lake Comic-Con, which is on April 19th. That's where it starts. They'll be hitting some other places like CMA Fest, Celebrity Fan Fest, Firefly Festival. We are here in Wisconsin, so they'll be coming to us at Summerfest in June 26th.
Yeah, they weren't there last year.
Yeah, but I think, maybe I believe it's just one of those things where they might not have had anything ready to offer. Like, I think this is going to be more VR focused than anything, kind of like how State of Play. So, like, you can play Iron Man VR, FNAF VR, all that kind of stuff. The Silicon Valley Comic-Con, GameStop Expo, the CA Capital Air Show, Six Flags Fright Fest. That'll be happening. The Thunderbirds Air Show, the Fiesta Bowl, and the National Championship, which this pretty much is going all the way up until January of next year. And all this will you can go to roadtogreatness.com to keep up to date on all the games that they'll be listing on there. So the games in the Road to Greatness will be changing every so often. But that's great. Again, Road to Greatness is awesome. It's really fun. I'm glad that PlayStation does that. So, really good. And then let's go ahead and move on. Next topic is that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has sold 2 million copies in 10 days. So, from launch, in 10 days, they were able to sell 2 million copies. From Software's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has sold 2 million copies in just 10 days. This number was achieved between sales on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Activision has confirmed this is sold through to consumers, and it includes digital and physical sales on all platforms. Activision also revealed that Sekiro was the number 1 viewed game on Twitch during its launch day.
Makes sense. I mean, and just as a side note, I honestly could not watch Apex Legends and Fortnite for any length of time. That bores the crap out of me. I'm not saying that there isn't validity to it, but I would much rather watch a game like Sekiro where it's comes down to just not to say there's not skill involved in Apex, but it's the same thing. Every time you're just fighting other people. Whereas in a game like Sekiro, it's there's still skill involved, but you're going through different environments, you're fighting different bosses. It's more about the one-on-one aspect of it. For me, that is much more entertaining. Unless competitive fighting games, I'll watch that.
Oh yeah, I'll watch.
But then again, that's still the one-on-one fighting at the skill aspect of fighting. You know what I mean? Whereas all shooters are essentially the same thing. I'm not saying they're not worth watching, but I'm not saying that cool stuff can't happen in it. But it's just I couldn't watch that for hours. I would just get bored. Because what's gonna happen? You're just gonna see him pop a bunch of people. There could be strategy elements to it and stuff like that, but I just it just doesn't do it for me.
I get you. I mean, it's not my cup of tea either. But I can kind of see why people
I see why they do it.
It's because of the personality of the person who's playing,
and that's probably 51% of it.
I'd probably say that's the majority of it. But then it's also seeing. Especially the reason why Ninja's the number 1 streamer is because of his skill in the game.
Right.
Not only his personality, but it's also he's just that good. He's always been that good. It's like watching for us. I agree. I'd rather watch a fighting tournament like Evo or when Mortal Kombat 11 comes out, they're going to be holding tournaments for that. I'll watch that because it's the skill based set between 2 fighters going at it with each other. But I think with Apex and Fortnite, it's instead of one-on-one, it's this one guy. It's survivability.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But going with this, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, I love Sekiro. Sekiro's
I do too.
So
it's a great
good.
Game.
I love this game, and really I'm honestly surprised. This is published by Activision, and I'm honestly surprised. It just seems when Activision just lets their developers just go,
The Surge. I think Activision was on that. It was Deck 3rd, maybe not.
No, I don't believe so.
Maybe it was another game I was playing.
But when it comes to Activision, it seems the games that aren't part of Activision's like big games, like Destiny when Bungie
Sure.
was still with them, or Call of Duty, or anything like that. It doesn't seem. It just seems like the games can breathe. Like look at Crash Bandicoot. It was the number one selling game when it came out 2 years ago on PlayStation. It was only on PlayStation, and it was the highest selling game that month in June. Now you look at Sekiro. Sekiro sold 10 million.
Another
copies.
fun fact. Did you say 10?
10 million. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 million copies in 10 days.
Say,
I'm sorry, 2 million.
I was just gonna say
10 days.
As a side note, even like 2 or 3 years after launch, Horizon Zero Dawn reached 10 million copies worldwide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I still got to beat that game.
It's such a good game.
It is. I just been playing. There's so many. There's
too
too many good games.
There's so many good games, and that's.
But I'd rather that be the case than there be nothing to play.
Exactly. I definitely do agree with that. But yeah, I wanted. So which is awesome. I'm very, very happy with that. So I wanted to have that kind of lead into our PlayStation conversation, our main topic, which there's been a big debate that has been happening ever since Sekiro has come out, and people have been putting in their 2 cents, and I guess it's our turn to go ahead and throw our hat into the ring. So I want to talk about the difficulty debate, accessibility versus difficulty, and the reason why I bring this up is because Forbes created an article about, let me pull this up. I need to pull this up. I apologize. Pretty much the whole thing is that Forbes pulled up an article about.
I always find it interesting why Forbes is even talking about.
Yeah,
what in Forbes magazine? It's just about rich people, essentially. I don't understand. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because they're trying to diversify, but it's just like
I feel that's
who at Forbes has anything to say about video games?
No. But this article is written by Dave Thier. The article reads, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice need to respect its players and add an easy mode. And it just goes on about how, this is another Soulsborne game from Software, or from Software. And he's saying that the latest offering from Software, a developer known for, among other things, punishingly difficult games that is set a standard for how much abuse the modern player can take. It is debuted with a new style with Demon Souls, cemented it with Dark Souls before swaggering across the game industry with Bloodborne, my drug of choice, and one of the most engaging gaming experiences I've ever had. These games have achieved a kind of cult status in certain corners of the gaming community. Whether people use them as kind of a litmus test for whether someone is a true gamer or a filthy casual. The fact is that these games don't have any difficulty settings means that only a certain sort of player with time, inclination, reaction speed, and lack of physical issues will ever see the final boss fight anywhere but on Twitch. That's a problem. My problem. This is. I'm still reading from the article. Okay. This is still from Forbes. My problem is my problem with these is that I don't think I'd write any of these articles if I didn't like them so much. There are difficult games that I won't play and whatever, but the difficulty is only one part of what defines these games for me, and honestly, it's not the most important part. From Software has some of the best world building in the business, and I would argue the best character design. Early on in Sekiro, I had to sneak under a bridge where I found this bizarre, misshapen hermit man that lunged.
Oh, I remember that part. I murked him right away.
Lunged at me with a wicked knife from underneath and a broad straw hat. It was gross and strange and the sort of thing you almost smell. The first glimpse I had of the malformed underbelly of this world that I had taken my first steps into. That's what I remember from Bloodborne more than anything. Something about the lonely, horrible way that these characters move is endlessly fascinating that I could watch them all day, and every time I see one, I just need to see the rest. Lots of developers have attempted to imitate from style of aggressively spare storytelling that relies on opaque item descriptions and occasional short dialogue to build out worlds that seem so much larger than its own character's comprehension, but only Hollow Knight ever came close to what makes this game special. So I think what I see is that he did post an update after where in the article it says the whole Twitch thing, where the only way that people can see the final final boss fight is on Twitch. That's a problem. He then puts up an update saying, since publishing this, there's been some interesting conversation on Twitter and elsewhere. Below, I'm posting a Twitter thread from accessibility expert Ian Hamilton about accessibility, difficulty, and how developers can think about these issues, as well as an article by game developer Garrick Burford about his experience playing from software titles as someone with a physical disability. The article continues in the tweet. This is just the tweet. This is what it says. It says, from Ian Bardo, I agree accessibility is important, and as it happens, I've recently had the opportunity to discuss the issue with Sherry for an article. I also think that adding an easy mode to Sekiro means making a fundamentally different game. So this is Ian Hamilton. This is again Ian Hamilton at Dave Thier. So this is to Dave, the guy who wrote this article. Quote: easy mode is a really blunt instrument. There are other ways to start. To start with it, To start with, it is worth looking at what the designer's intent is, what they want the players to experience. Many assume that From's goal is to make games that require a high skill bar, and that's not true. So this is just a tweet, and there's been tons of people who have been debating about this, have been talking about this, and I want to go ahead and kind of have us kind of as I've said before, throw our hat into the ring. Sure. So first and foremost, should Sekiro Shadows Die Twice should there be an easy mode in this?
No.
Good, because I don't think there should be either. There shouldn't be either. I know for me, so why don't we start with you and then we'll go to me, because I know our experiences with, from software games and especially Sekiro is very different. So, sure. Blaze, why don't you tell me your experience and what you think, where your brain's at, that kind of stuff.
Well, let me just preface and start with I think From Software, as stated, one of the best developers in the business. Their world building is unparalleled. The way you feel when difficulty aside, the way you feel when you play their games, walking around their worlds, their immersion, it's phenomenal.
Yep.
And being able to have such vague worlds where you pick up bits and pieces of information where it's almost like you're figuring out what's actually going on without being explicitly told it, and I think that adds another layer to the immersion. And I'm a huge fan of Bloodborne. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I still have to beat it. I'm in the second to last boss. I just haven't played it in forever. But I know how it ends. But yeah, no, phenomenal game, especially since I love Lovecraftian elements, and that game is literally that. I've also played a good chunk of the first Dark Souls as well as some of Dark Souls 3. I've always, ever since I played the first Dark, I love their combat system. I love I don't care that it's difficult. The combat is so fun for me, that realistic dodging and hack and slash, it's ideal for me outside of a fighting game itself, because it just adds more of you feel like you actually become more skilled as you go along, and when you do pull something off, or if you go in and just absolutely just wreck an enemy, even if it's a smaller one, you know that that's an accomplishment, even if it's not a main boss, because even the smaller enemies in Dark Souls, even if you're vastly outclassed in power compared to them, they will still wreck you if you give them the opportunity. And given that, it gives you a lot more pride as a skilled gamer to be able to just go in and just wreck a bunch of them and not even have to think twice about it. But specifically, as far as the whole easy mode thing goes, it's pretty much like you said, with Sekiro, which I think is phenomenal. I haven't beaten it, but I'm playing through it. I'm a good chunk through it. And I've, and I had to face, as an example, the Chained Ogre, one of the first real bosses that you fight that isn't, one of the little samurai guys that are also difficult. However, I had to fight him at least 10 times maybe. And after getting upgrades, at the first time I fought him, I didn't have the fire, which is a huge thing for those types of creatures, just to get breathing room and stuff. But I think that even when compared to games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, the mechanics of being a shinobi in that game are so vastly different. It's I honestly feel it's not that much harder. It's about the same. especially since like you have so much like movement options, you can hop around. There's no stamina bar.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Like you literally can just hop around as much as you want. It's all about like the posturing system.
Yeah.
So instead of having a stamina bar, you have posture where you can basically be susceptible to an attack if you're not careful, take too many hits while blocking, or you don't deflect well enough.
Yep.
So it comes down to timing, which is, I think, perfect. Like it's, whatever. But I think that again, what like that guy said, if you were to add an easy mode, it would fundamentally change what the game is. Like I don't think people realize what would have to happen to the game for an easy mode to you could make if you could make, let's say, I don't know, if you made the AI less aggressive or whatever, but by doing that, you make it less worthwhile to defeat them. It would become more of a Devil May Cry type of game, which is great in its own right, but it's not supposed to be that.
Yeah.
Even though the first few Devil May Cries were also very difficult, but it was still nowhere near the same amount because it's the intricacy of the combat mechanics that make games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and Sekiro difficult.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I know you've spent far more time in that game than I have. And two, this is definitely like your style of game. Like,
it is. I think it's perfect.
For me, like I have. This is kind of the first From Software game that I've spent a good amount of time in. Dark Souls, I do own the Dark Souls trilogy because all my friends have played it and they were like, dude, you need to get in on this. So I'm like, all right, sweet. I bought the trilogy, got the steelbook, all that kind of good stuff. Awesome. And it comes with everything on my PS4. I did buy I bought Bloodborne after it was all out, after the hype and that kind of thing. And my friends told me like, dude, you should play Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne would fit you better because of the style of combat.
I agree.
You like to get in there and like be aggressive.
And you have trick weapons. Like it gives you more options, basically.
Exactly. So like in that,
but also takes other options away. As like, for instance, you have the gun, which not only it gives you a ranged ability right away. However, and it does damage, but it's also more risky to use when compared to Dark Souls when you had a shield that you could use to deflect and get a riposte.
Yeah.
Because you don't have an unlimited number of uses without either sacrificing your health or killing specific enemies or purchasing more ammunition for your gun.
But Sekiro, I really wanted to get into is because for me, what appealed to me the most out of Sekiro, where I'm like, oh, I got to get in on this right away, and that was me. My friends didn't tell me this. Like I was looking forward to Sekiro is because of I love the verticality of the game where you can
the traversal.
The traversal. That's kind of what got me hooked on it. And
I also really like how they put a big emphasis on stealth mechanics because there were stealth mechanics in tech kind of
the whole backstabbing thing.
Yeah, or in Bloodborne, if you got a fully charged like heavy strike on an unaware opponent, you could perform a visceral attack which does a crap ton of damage if not kill them outright. But the death blow system, in addition to a dedicated sneak ability and like all of that.
Yep.
And like you can do it from a ledge hang. Like like stealth is a focus of the game. You could go in all out, but if you are being stealthy about it will give you the bonus of like getting an instant death blow and taking one off of a boss's meter, where you only have to get one more and not fight your way through two of them.
Yeah.
And that's huge. In addition to doing more damage. You also, there's a skill that I got through, upgrading that you gain a small amount of health back on a successful death blow, which is huge in a game like that. And I also think, they made it levels the playing field, whereas in, Bloodborne, you upgrade specific skills and things of that nature. But in Sekiro, and I'm, one boss away from actually getting a fourth bead, which is, so you basically, you get beads from bosses that you defeat, which when you get enough of them, you can actually upgrade your overall health, your vitality, and your posture.
Yeah.
But your skills, you basically have to earn them by, and if you die, you lose half of them along with half of your money. Money's not, and you use that but once you gain a skill point, it will stay there, and you don't lose that on death, and you gain extra moves. You actually get extra combat abilities, or additional damage, or you are more sneaky, or whatever. And that I really like. It's a skill tree, but it's not as hardcore RPG bare basics as like Bloodborne, where you're looking at numbers. And stats.
And for me, I gravitate really hard to third person action, like a character,
or like a Horizon Zero Dawn would be another example.
It's a character action adventure game. That kind of stuff. Where, like, this is the character you play as. This is the story that you're experiencing. You're experiencing this character's story. Where Bloodborne and Dark Souls is more of, like, a straight up and down RPG.
The world's story is what you're trying to figure out. It's not, like, a main character. You're just the hunter or an undead.
Yeah, where, like, for me, that's why I gravitated more to Sekiro, because you're playing as...
and the combat system's just amazing. Yeah. It's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfectly balanced. It's I mean, obviously, there's a learning curve to it. But that, like, not only, like, again, with the easy mode thing, it's like, From Software, like, that's their thing. And like you said, they don't make games difficult for difficulty's sake. It's to, it adds more to the world building. I think it gives a greater satisfaction upon a victory. And it makes you take different calculated risks. Like, do you want to risk fighting that dude and losing what you have? Because it's unlike the other games, you can't go and retrieve it. You have skill points and you lose half of them. So it's like, and then you have I'm down to 10, because the more you die, like you start at like the unseen aid, which I've only gotten like 3 times. You start at 30%. I'm down to 10% now because I've died. And it goes down with every certain number of deaths. You get this like rot essence or whatever it is. But it's like you get the chance to just retain all your stuff. So it's like left up to chance, which I think is interesting. But the chance goes down the more you die, which means you have to take more calculated risks.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, if people are just bum rushing in on bosses or trying to just speed run through it and complaining that it's too difficult, it's because you have to grind maybe a little bit and get more skills. But the core combat, I think, is so much fun that it's not boring to grind for that stuff.
So here's the whole thing. I think the reason why this has been brought up, and I know Dave is not the only one who brought this up, is that it's not only is it about difficulty, it's about accessibility.
Yeah, that's all it's about. It's all about accessibility. Because accessibility is where the difficulty aspect comes in.
But here's the thing. There's very much a difference between being accessible to gamers and being difficult to gamers. There really is a complete difference to that. But I think a lot of people are going, oh, if a game is difficult,
like accessibility,
it's not accessible because the only people who are going to want to play that is this niche crowd who wants to play that.
Or not that those are the only people that are going to want to play it, that the only people that are going to be able to actually get through the game.
Yeah.
Because they have the, hand-eye coordination, the time to put into it to be able to learn the mechanics. I'm still learning aspects of the mechanics, and I've beaten bosses.
Yeah, but there really is a complete difference between that. That's what I wanted to bring up, is because it's the difficulty debate. That's the name of this episode, and the reason why it's not about difficulty. The difficulty is different from accessibility. If you make a game easier, yeah, of course you make it more accessible to people to play it.
Like Tetris is extremely accessible and can be insanely difficult.
Exactly, yeah.
That'd be a perfect example. Like, that game will get insanely hard, but it's so simple to play, there's no way that you could ever tell me that it's not accessible. So that right there, and the only difference is there's more to something like Sekiro than there is like Tetris, because it's such a simple game by nature.
Yeah, I mean, again, because the thing is that, Activision is the publisher. Activision,
and you could argue the only real argument that I could see as far as accessibility is concerned, because there are options like Xbox's accessibility controller. Not to say, I'm sure, I think PlayStation should get on something like that.
I agree.
That I will agree with. But that's just just like a general thing that they should do for all games. But maybe this will lead to that. Maybe that would be I think that would be one great thing to come out of this whole thing. But the thing is if you make, like I said, like if Tetris was always easy, every level you played, there'd be no point.
Exactly.
It might be fun to do, but it's like, what's the point if it's not? You're not overcoming any difficulties if it's always the same, and that's why Sekiro is difficult. They make it so that there are no modes because the one mode you play, it's one difficulty, and in some games that would make it like there'd be no point to play it because, like I said, you're not. But the thing is, everything you fight, every enemy you face is a different form of difficulty.
Yeah.
And you have to approach it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they have to do, in my opinion, to be able to have the game have any sense of accomplishment upon a victory. Because if every enemy was easily defeatable, yeah, the world's still beautiful, but it's like there's not a real point to it. Like you would get good at it, and eventually it would become stale and stagnant. But like that's why I love those games because like every enemy you fight, you're like, all right, now what am I gonna have to do? I'm probably not even gonna be able to win this time. I'm probably gonna have to figure out what's going on, and like that adds an element that I love, especially given the nature of how fun the combat is to that game. If you were to make it an easier game, then again, it would just suffer from becoming stagnant. Now, when I say, like you said, because difficulty and accessibility are two very different things. That game is accessible. Accessibility is the ability to physically play the game. The only argument that I can think of that has any real gravity is if your visual acuity is bad. But then again, that would affect every game you play, and that would mean that everyone has to make their game so that it's just so simple visually to be able to react to that people who want that hardcore experience won't get it. So you're basically cutting out people who want to become skilled at the game through its punishing difficulty in order to accommodate absolutely everybody. Not to say that it shouldn't be a concern that accessibility in a game like that should be a thing, but again, like let's say with Xbox, like there are ways for people with disabilities, like to be able to play a game like that.
So
like that's saying like because the thing is, there's plenty of people with with no disabilities that still wouldn't be able to play Sekiro and would complain about it being too difficult.
Like
and
me.
that's right. But the thing is,
I'm not complaining about it, but it's hard.
It's hard, but like that. But the thing is, like that's the thing. It's like if you would make it easy for people with disabilities, with good intentions, but then it's the same thing as making it easy for someone who just complains about how difficult it is because they don't want to put in the time to get good at the combat system and learn the boss or learn the next thing they got to do.
Well, mind you, that's where Get Good came from.
Right, exactly.
So, I actually wanted to pull up the actual definition between accessibility and difficulty. So, in the dictionary for accessibility, noun, the quality of being able to be reached or entered, or the quality of being easy to obtain or use, or the quality of being easily understood or appreciated. So, and I really like the second one, the quality of being easy to obtain or use, like easy to obtain. Where difficulty is noun, the state or condition of being difficult, a thing that is hard to accomplish, deal with, or understand, or a situation that is difficult or dangerous. And what I really like is that it's a thing that is hard to accomplish. I think like the second definition of both of these words is what Sekiro is, or kind of the debate that we're having.
Right.
So I think Sekiro is difficult. Like, difficulty is a thing that is hard to accomplish, to deal with, or to understand.
Which is pretty much all of that, especially with the world building.
But I think that Sekiro, but also, accessibility is different. Accessibility means that it is easy to obtain or use. It is easy to pick up a game and play it. It is like, again...
And even with disability, there are options, like, again, not on PS4, but like, if that was a concern, you would get an Xbox so that you could get that controller.
But like using your example of Tetris. Tetris is is a game that is easy to obtain and to use. But you can make it difficult. But the difficulty level is what makes it difficult. How
It's
many pieces
that game's
are falling and stuff like that.
And Tetris is progressive difficulty. Like, it gets harder as you go. Not to say that doesn't also happen in Sekiro, but Sekiro sets the standard where it's like, it's not so much that it gets harder as you go. It's each enemy is its own level of difficulty and requires a certain weight of fighting it or what have you to be able to defeat it.
Yeah, and like, look, there are trophies. Like, I'm a big trophy hunter. Like, some of the best trophy guides or trophy lists is a trophy list that you can platinum. Like, it should be a trophy list that I can platinum, but it still takes some time and is difficult.
It takes time by default.
Well, it takes time by default, but I'm talking about like trophy. Like, for instance, I think like the most recent one I will have to bring up is I believe that God of War had a perfect, and I mean a perfect trophy list. Well, the hardest trophy to get in that entire game, outside of getting the collectibles, is killing the Valkyrie Queen. Right. That is the hardest enemy in that game. And like, I remember when I beat the Valkyrie Queen, that was like, yes, I finally got it. And I beat it and I platinum.
And that's how I felt every time I beat a boss in Bloodborne after like the umpteenth try.
Yeah, but like,
because it's like I would be like, all right, either it's like, okay, you learn every time you do it, so it's just like, okay, you use that as one aspect of, okay, this is what I'm going to use the knowledge about their movements, how they attack, what stages, depending on their health that they go into. But maybe I just need to go grind and just upgrade a specific skill, or get, in the case of Sekiro, get another skill so that I can utilize that against this person, get another item, or like, search, do some more outside of it. And that's why I love the way that those games are set up, because in a game like Sekiro, you can just ignore a boss and just run past him.
Yep.
Or, I mean, dependent, I haven't got far enough, but like, especially like in Bloodborne, like, other than certain circumstances where like you have to defeat this boss to get to this next area, there's so much of a world that you can still go to explore with other things where you like, it's not even like giving up to be like, I'm going to just go explore this other area, see if I can't get something new, or at the very least upgrade myself through experience and, whatever. Then I'll come back to try to get this guy.
Yeah.
With my newly found ability or whatever, or higher experience, greater attack power, more defense. Maybe I just want to go grind and stock up on equipment that I know that I want to use on this guy because it'll make it easier.
Yep.
And it's like they give you all and especially in Sekiro, where it's like there isn't like a hardcore stat-based progression system. Yeah. It's like you are, you can increase your health and get additional like skills that are literally change what you actually can physically do, and that is it works in the same fashion. You want to go get more equipment for this boss. It's like it gives you all the tools you need to defeat everything in the game.
Yeah,
and like, granted, the actual execution of pulling off those, it's like it's difficult, but the thing is, it's like, if you take the time to learn about that, it forces you to do that.
Yeah.
It's like you're basically treating it as, it's like, I can't just go in and just do whatever. I gotta, like,
there's a way
I gotta watch there's a way to do it.
Yeah, like, for instance, I think, like, the difference is, like, so as I said, like, getting, like, for me, I'm a big trophy hunter, and I love, like, having difficult yet obtainable trophies, where, unlike, there are certain trophies where I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to get to where it's like, do this thing X many times, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. No. But in, like, for instance, Sekiro, regardless, like, Sekiro, I'm looking at a trophy list, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to platinum this game. But it's a game that I want to play, I want to beat, and that kind of thing. Regardless, whether you're a trophy hunter...
Because I'm not a trophy hunter, and I just play it for...
Of course, exactly. But, like, it's the difficulty where... with, like, you want that satisfaction. It's like, yeah, I beat that guy. I beat it. I did it. Bam. Like... If God of War or Marvel Spider-Man or Sekiro or Bloodborne, if you could do everything, the kind of what we've been seeing in, like, mainstream media is, like, this hand-holding that we've been seeing. Like, yeah, it's difficult, but you can just, like, it's the power fantasy where you're like, I can just mow down guys with my weapons and stuff.
As opposed to, like, I have to be that skilled to be able to defeat this opponent.
Yeah.
I have to be strategic about what I do because it will destroy me if I just think I can just go in and bulldoze through.
And I think that's what we're seeing is that
like I think a perfect parallel would be like Devil May Cry. Like I'm playing on the Devil Hunter. I started on there's two modes, easy, hard, basically.
And even it's really easy medium.
Right, and it's like it's easy in a sense because it's very hack and slash, but like getting those higher tiers makes you use strategy.
The triple S.
Right, and I've gotten in that, and the thing is though, but like that game is far easier in its mechanics to play because it's far more over the top.
Yeah.
Whereas in a game like Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls, it's very minimal. But very
tactical.
Yeah,
very tactical.
Right. Like you have a lot of movements and dodging and a lot of things you can do because you need to be able to do them.
Yeah,
and it's like it's harder because your opponents can also do it to the same degree. You're not fighting just cannon fodder enemies. Each enemy you face has the ability to like screw you up.
Yeah.
If you let them.
Last things to kind of leave this before we kind of end this because I think we're going on. But here's the thing. The big thing that we've been seeing with when we hear this debate about this game is difficult or this game is hard is in order to fix how hard it is, just give an easy mode or to make it more accessible.
That'll make the game. It won't be the same game.
Exactly.
It would not be. It's not what people were so hyped for when they saw it.
You put because in order to make it accessible, let's make it easier. No, because
that's not going to make it more accessible. If someone can't physically play the game, making it easier will not change that. It might make it slightly more accessible just based off the fact that there's not as much going on.
But I think it's just more in a more general sense.
Yeah, right.
Like you could play a Call of Duty campaign and you're just like a god in that game.
Right.
You may die every so often because I should have shot this dude. These group of enemies.
Or if you encounter something you haven't encountered before.
But after maybe the first or second try, I got it. Bam, let's keep moving.
Right.
And there's a lot of other games that
like
do
as
that.
an example, I have no disabilities and I still haven't beaten Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 9 on the easiest setting because he's just cheap and broken.
Oh yeah.
And but it is possible to defeat him.
But you have to cheese him. That's why.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to fight that way.
I get you.
I eventually, after the 50th some try, I was just like, this isn't even worth beating. I'm not getting anything for it. It was just simply for my satisfaction that I wanted to beat him.
That's why NetherRealm has changed that.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing is that making the game easier does not making it accessible. You actually are changing the way the game was meant to be made, the way the game is supposed to be. But there are ways to make it more accessible. Again, for me, I haven't really played these Soulsborne games. But the first one that I'm like, I want to dig my teeth into is Sekiro, because for me, what appeals to me, what is kind of more accessible to me is kind of, if you look at the library that I have, it's more third person action adventure character action adventure games. Uncharted, Last of Us,
Darksiders,
God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. All of these are based around one character, a story about that one character, and you go through it, so on and so forth. Whether you're shooting up, bad guys, or you're destroying big, huge mechs, or killing Norse mythological enemies. There you go. That's why I have you here. But again, that's why Sekiro appealed to me. And having the satisfaction of being like, yeah, finally killed that guy, that red samurai, which is it should have to go ahead and kill.
Oh yeah, dude. He took me a few tries. I left him. I defeated the chained ogre before I defeated him.
Oh wow. Yeah, no. But again, that's the whole thing, is that being accessible is different than being difficult. Difficult is again, just to repeat this again, difficulty is the state or condition of being difficult, or a thing that is hard to accomplish, to deal with, or to understand. All these games that are difficult, even if you put Darksiders and God of War have these hard modes on them. If you play I want God of War on the new God of War game, it is hard. It is difficult. It's actually like you have to be really good at that game.
Right.
You know?
But basically the main difference between that and a game like Sekiro is that they don't ease you into it. You don't have to like, you know, it's like this is the difficulty, it's universal, and it's not like you know, certain enemies are harder than other enemies, but the overall difficulty of the game, like you are given everything you need to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's not a matter of accessibility because yes, it's difficult, but like I said, Tetris can be difficult, but there's no way anyone could tell me that it's not accessible.
Yeah.
And granted, they are vastly different games. There's far more that you have to, you know, do mentally and visually in a game like Sekiro. But it's like if you have those disabilities, not discounting and saying you shouldn't be able to play it, but it's like you can't nerf everything just because certain people aren't able to do it, because like there's people who have no disabilities that would still be bad at it or still not be able to be as good as fast as they'd like, but they have every, you know, capability to be able to do it.
But the Sekiro and Bloodborne and Dark Souls are all games that are accessible because of
the Surge
or God, like all these games are accessible because of what they give you. You know,
they give you the means to do it, but it's as with any game, like unless you want it played for you, they give you complete agency as to how to defeat your enemies, which is why there's so much movement in everything.
And in really like to end this conversation is really there doesn't need to be an easy mode for games like this. There really does, like, you know, I'm honestly looking forward to Jedi Fallen Order, and I like, you know, if they choose the whole, you know, God of War style, you know, the different difficulties.
I'd be fine with
that. I'd be fine with that. But if they also go the Dark Soul, you know, the Soulsborne realm of like it's one difficulty but it's hard, I'd be okay with that.
Basically,
too.
In a game like Sekiro, it's almost like you automatically choose your own difficulty based on how you decide to play the game. If you take the time to learn what you like, the combat, and they give you a guy to fight, where you can literally, without worry of dying, practice combat. Granted, he's not the same as some of the enemies that don't use the same weapons as him, but it teaches you all the main principles, and as you unlock more skills, it adds more training so you can hone those skills. Yeah. You know, grinding to get your skills up, to get more of them, to get, you know, having to, you know, defeat smaller bosses to gain more vitality, whatever it is. Yeah. Like, you're given all of the opportunities to make yourself able to take on those things. Yeah. You're given items that reduce damage, that increase defense, you know, and using those when you think they're necessary. It's like they give you all this stuff, and you're basically, you create how difficult it is by how well prepared you are when you fight. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think really, you know, just the takeaway from this conversation is that accessibility is different than difficulty. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what we have to say. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Press the like button if you like this video. Comment on this video. Tell us what you guys think of Sekiro or Dark Souls or Bloodborne or any of the games that we've talked about. Also about this whole debate about difficulty versus accessibility. We always love to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel, which is youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Press the subscribe button and press the bell icon. That way, anytime we put up a video, you know we put up a video. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of our PlayStation podcast. This right here, this show, Dualshock'd BOG. And then you can also follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks and Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. But yeah, I think I covered everything. Is there anything else from you, Blaze? I think I'm good.
Awesome. Alrighty then, guys. I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
I'm Guru Blaz.
And as always, live to play together. We'll see you guys next time.